Hello and welcome to the very first episode of We Love Wrestling. I'm your host, Josh Edwards. I'm here with my co-host, Rusty Hensley. Rusty?
Hey, Josh, I'm really looking forward to getting started with this. I have been looking forward to this for a while now.
Yeah, we've kind of been throwing around the idea for a little bit, but I get these strokes of I don't know, maybe I'm having a stroke, but I get these times where I'm like, you know what, let's just fucking do it. And I kind of had all the equipment, and I was like, what's stopping us?
Yeah, I get what you mean. There are impulses where you're like, I should really do that one day. And then there are impulses where you're like, you know what? I'm doing this right here, right now.
That happened to me a lot, like training for pro wrestling. I had no athletic background at all, and I was like, I like wrestling. Let me do it.
Yeah, you've always been really good about that. I mean, when it comes to whenever you want to just do something, you're pretty good about just going out and just giving it a shot.
I'm a chronic trier is the thing. That's what I like to call, or that's what I like to say. I like to try things, and it doesn't always work out, but I always I give it the good old college try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think honestly that is a really good trait. I legitimately think that when the time comes, we all pass on, and they say that you regret more what you didn't do rather than what you did do. So I think that kind of mindset, you're gonna not have that many regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. None at all.
So I figured this first episode will be like an introduction to both of us. I can't talk. That's good for a podcast. It'll be a good introduction for both of us, kind of get a baseline of why we like this crazy fucking world of professional wrestling. By the way, cursing is allowed on this podcast. Executive decision, me.
Oh. I'm overruling that.
Oh dear.
There will be no gosh darn swearing on this podcast. Not on my nice family wrestling
going forward podcast. It would be really funny if you only use alternative curse words. I'm not gonna lie. You're like the reiteration of DX. You're like Shawn Michaels in the reiteration of DX. When Triple H did all the fucked up shit and Shawn acted like he didn't see anything. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, who do you want to go first? You want to go first and kind of introduce us to kind of who you are and what you love about wrestling? Maybe some of your first wrestling memories, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So like you said, my name is Rusty. I am the co-host on this show. And I have always just really loved wrestling. But if I had to say, I'd say it's probably the character work and seeing how the different angles, the different storylines, how they affect the characters and how they change with time. I think a really great example of that is The Shield. Seeing the differences that unfold in the characters of Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns over the years, and how things from years ago still affect them to this day. Like with WrestleMania earlier this year, when Reigns had the choice between attacking Rollins or Cody with the chair, he went after Rollins because he was still pissed in the storyline about what happened all those years ago.
Yeah. I mean, and who can really blame him in character,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They were unstoppable.
Yeah, and, I just love that sort of long-form storytelling and character development. Wrestling is really great at telling stories in ways that may not be impossible for other formats, but it certainly works better in pro wrestling.
I concur. Yeah. So what's your first memories of wrestling?
Oh boy, man. I think, it's a little cliche, but the Attitude Era is probably my earliest memories. Also, WCW. I was a huge Goldberg stan as a kid. But I mean, Goldberg
Goldberg was awesome back in the day.
When you're a kid, there is nothing more amazing than seeing this guy come in and tear apart all these other wrestlers who are always having these competitive matches, but he just comes in, hits them with a few moves, and just destroys them. And as an adult, you're like, oh god, that's
not Ryback.
As an adult, you see how this might develop problems with time. But as a kid, you don't really think about that. You don't think about how it affects things down the line. As a kid, all you think about is, oh man, this guy is the coolest guy ever.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Who is your favorite wrestler? I should ask.
Oh, that's a really tough one. That's a really loaded question.
I know.
My favorite wrestler. I'd honestly say probably The Undertaker.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
I mean, in my opinion, Undertaker is like the undisputed best of all time.
I can certainly see that argument. He's definitely the best character wrestler of all time, and it's not even close.
Oh, definitely.
Because if you think about The Undertaker, that is a fucking stupid gimmick that should not have worked.
Oh, definitely not. A lot of it came down to Mark Calloway's performance and how he chose to take that performance in the direction that he did.
That gimmick shouldn't have worked from day one. He should have been right up there with Isaac Yankem, DDS, whoever that guy turned out to be.
Yeah, I wanted. It'd be actually interesting to see Isaac Yankem,
DDS.
Isaac Yankem. It'd be interesting to see if he ever did anything with his career, specifically related to The Undertaker. I doubt it, though.
No. Maybe our viewers in, I don't know, Knox County, Tennessee might have something to say about this.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyways, that's getting too political. So Undertaker, who's your favorite right now? Since Undertaker is retired,
I'd have to say CM Punk.
Interesting. Okay, you might get some hate on that.
Well,
but hey,
to be honest,
be the heel of this podcast. It's fine.
To be fair, no matter if you express an opinion at all on the internet, you're going to receive hate.
Internet is not the place for opinions.
No, it isn't. How dare you have an opinion on the internet?
So, trying to think of other questions that'll kind of give a baseline of who you are. What's your favorite match of all time?
Ooh, I would say probably CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank
2014?
2011.
2011, I meant, yeah. Is that the one right before he left, right?
Yeah.
God.
Left in quotation marks. You guys can't see it, but I'm doing the air quotes.
No, Rusty likes doing a lot of visual gags.
You can't see it, but I'm just the funniest guy.
Yeah. You're the best at visual comedy, Rusty.
That translates well to a podcast.
That's why we have an audio. But that's a great choice. That's up there for me as well. That's a fantastic. God damn it. He's making faces. That's a fantastic match though. Man, that whole CM Punk rivalry with Cena was unbelievable, honestly.
Oh yeah, the way those two just really went back and forth at each other.
Yeah. Now everybody shits on CM Punk, but I think they forget how fucking over he was in 2011. Like, there was no one bigger than CM Punk.
I would honestly go as far to say that from the period of time in between the beginning of the PG era in 2008, all the way up until Punk's pipe bomb, I would say that was WWE, in my opinion, at least, probably at its worst.
Yeah,
I mean, there were bright
I
spots.
agree.
Don't get me wrong, there were bright spots, absolutely. Even the worst time periods have bright spots, but they had transitioned into the PG era, and they hadn't quite figured out how to write PG
That is still
stories.
compelling.
Yeah, stories that are accessible for families, but are still compelling and still fun to watch. And they up until that point, they had kind of just relied on, immature jokes and storytelling and shock value.
Shoving Canadian flags up noses.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the kind of thing you could expect. But since they hadn't figured out how to transition away from that, it led to one of the worst time periods in my era, or in my opinion, of wrestling. And I think that the Summer of Punk, what makes that so special is it really shook something loose right there.
Yeah, it really felt, and I know at the end of the day it was mostly planned, obviously, because it's a show, but it really felt like Punk was saying, fuck all this. I'm going to do what I want.
Well, I've seen his, he had a DVD released sometime in between a few months to a few years after, I can't remember, where he talked about that. And he said that what happened that night was he came in and somebody said, hey, you're going to love this. And he's like, what's that? And they tell him, we're just going to give you a mic and you can just say what you want.
And he sure the fuck did, didn't he?
Oh, he absolutely did.
That pipe bomb, holy shit.
And I think that's probably my favorite thing about Punk is he can just talk in a way that you just don't see anymore.
Right.
Or rather, you don't see very often anymore. All right, so I feel like we've talked about me enough. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you like? What is it about wrestling that you find so compelling?
Puppies? No, I'm joking. No, I'm leaving that shit in.
Oh, okay.
No, honestly, it's the drama. It's the real life and fake stories that unfold. And the fact that, like, for me, I like to overthink things. So I'm like, when dramatic things are happening, I'm like, how are they actually like feeling right now? Like how are they acting so well?
Right.
Like, people don't think of wrestlers as good actors, but like, look at Roman Reigns right now.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a phenomenal actor. His facial expressions. They're like, in the middle of matches, he's making facial expressions at the crowd. Like, I don't think many people realize like how important that is.
I mean, if you really look at the history of wrestling, you can almost it kind of works in a way where the best wrestlers, or people who are viewed as the greatest, are pretty much always the best actors as well.
Right. I mean, from the very beginning, pro wrestling was done at circuses, and that and they had to act directly to the person that they were fighting, because their opponent was just somebody from the crowd.
Yeah, the old strongman competition of them being like, hey, they get like some schlubby looking guy up on the stage, but really he could bend any normal man like a pretzel.
Right. So, I mean, by the way, I know William Regal's not that old, but I like to think William Regal was around during those times. I don't know why. He seems like he would be.
I get what you mean. He looks like he would be. He looks as if he would be at home in a black and white photo.
Yeah, I think he hasn't aged either. What the fuck? Anyways. Random William Regal tangent. Anyways,
that has been our William Regal corner. Tune in next week for more William Regal.
Listen, I will talk about William Regal. However, I fucking love that guy.
He is very underrated.
He's one of the greatest. He's like the blueprint for a perfect heel. Just the way he walks with his hand behind his back, it's fucking chef's kiss. It's just little touches that are incredible. Anyways.
Yeah, it's all the subtle nuances that he gets down.
That's the kind of thing, because I am an overthinker. That is specifically. This is a good transition back into the question, because that kind of thing is what I love about professional wrestling.
Yeah,
like those little touches that just come together to make just like a chef's kiss moment. Even the sad moments are what make me feel connected to wrestling, like the death of Eddie Guerrero. It's super sad, and one of the literal saddest days of my childhood. But also, it made me feel connected. It made me feel connected to other wrestling fans. Like, if I look at a wrestling fan, I could say Eddie Guerrero. We both might cry. Like I don't have to know if that person likes Eddie Guerrero, because everybody fucking loves Eddie Guerrero.
Oh yeah.
There are things like. There are certain people that might be controversial, but then there's other people that are like, well, I know he loves Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
But
you don't like Eddie Guerrero? Sorry, didn't realize you didn't have a soul.
Facts. Exactly right. But, I mean, that kind of thing, just being connected. And I especially love it when I see, I'm listening to music. I listen to a lot of rap. And every time somebody says sweet chin music, I'm like, yeah, it's the thing. I don't know. It just makes me feel like I'm kind of in a club. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. It provides a real sense of community.
Yeah.
I've never felt more at home than I really do when I'm in the crowd at a wrestling show, in a lot of ways.
I feel the same way when I'm refereeing, because I just have the best seat in the house, and the entire time, especially at the federation that I referee at, the crowd knows me so well, they'll talk to me. I'm like, come on, ref, you see it. And I'll just walk to the ropes like, hey, what do you expect me to do, man? I'm over here trying my best.
I just thought of the time when I went to the show one of the shows where you refed, and I called you Lance Storm.
This is gonna come up, so we might as well bring it up
now. Oh yeah, let's talk about this.
On this podcast, Lance Storm is a god king.
He is the one true god of professional wrestling.
I mean, name one wrestler with more charisma.
Hey, careful! You're getting close to blasphemy territory by laughing. You'll hear us make references to Lance Storm.
It's sort of an inside joke, but I kind of want to let the audience in a bit. We clearly, I'm gonna go out of the joke for a second. We clearly know Lance Storm is not charismatic whatsoever, and probably has the charisma of a wet paper bag.
Now that is, I feel, is a bit harsh.
Okay, maybe he is a phenomenal human being.
Have you seen
in real life? He's really fucking cool.
Have you seen some of his promos in WCW?
Yeah, they kind of lean into the whole him not having a charisma thing, which almost makes it turn around and go to the point of him having charisma.
But the joke goes back to, I think it was WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Where you came over to my house to watch it, and I don't remember how the joke got started exactly, but every single time there was they were hinting at a small reveal or a small surprise. We started going, you know what would be the best reveal ever? Lance Storm.
And now it's got to the point where every time we see a botch, we're like, you know who wouldn't have made that botch?
Lance Storm.
Or you know what would make this match 10 times better? Lance Storm. No, I'm not gonna lie. And viewers be warned, if Lance Storm ever comes back, the next episode is gonna be fucking wild.
We will stop whatever we are doing that day, and we will come in to record, because that is how much we care about Lance Storm.
I wish I knew his middle name so I could be like Lance Keith Storm.
We should honestly, we should do like a yearly episode about Lance Storm.
I love it. I love it.
Make it like our Christmas.
Oh my God. Anyways.
Lance-mas.
What if I got Lance on this show? Hey, Lance Storm, if you hear this, come on this show. We'd fucking kill to have you on. Even though I said you have the charisma of a wet paper bag.
He's wrong.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
He is absolutely wrong about you, Lance.
I am. And we'd love to have you on. But anyways.
So now if you ever hear us just talk about Lance Storm or bring him up randomly throughout the podcast, that's why. We're not ripping on him. It's just an inside gag. All right. So we talked about what it is you found great about wrestling, why you find it so compelling, why you keep watching after all these years. So why don't you next tell us, how was it you got into wrestling?
I used to stay up later than my mom wanted me to. Her room was upstairs, my room was downstairs, so I kind of had my own reign in my room. So after I quote unquote went to bed, I'd turn on the TV, and I was not particular as to which show I watched, whether it was WCW or WWF. In fact, probably at the very beginning, I didn't really know the difference between the two. I was pretty young. I don't know any age, maybe 10, 11. I kind of just caught wrestling whenever I could find it. And I became a huge Kevin Nash fan, actually. Kevin Nash ended up being my favorite for a long time. Big sexy. I don't know. One of the first bits I ever watched was the Hogan getting thrown into a dumpster and then hit with a fucking truck or a car. And wasn't it Kevin Nash driving?
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Again, it was when I was a little kid, so. But as far as I remember, that's the first real bit I remember, right? And it kind of had me hooked. I was like, holy shit, this guy just got hit by a fucking car. How'd they do that? Like, how'd they fake that, right? You know, it kind of just hooked me. And then fast forward a few years, and I started, like, realizing I had to form an opinion. I can't just be like, wrestling is cool. And so, like, I started really paying attention to the characters, and that's when I realized how fucking good Shawn Michaels is.
Oh yeah, once you really start to develop a taste in wrestling, like a specific taste for a certain style or a certain aspect of it, this sounds a little pretentious, but once you refine your tastes,
Yeah. I feel you.
That's when you really get an appreciation for just how good Shawn Michaels really is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why he's my favorite of all time. I don't know. I know he was a huge dick back in the day. And here's the thing. He has also said he was a huge dick back in the day, so I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. He was clearly a dick. But
hot take here, Shawn Michaels used to be a bit of a jerk.
Yeah. Very hot take. And I'm fairly certain Shawn would agree. Or Michael, if you want to be a fucking Mark. Michael Hickenbottom over here. I love being a Mark. I am a Mark, but also you know, you want to hear my biggest mark moment? When I trained for professional wrestling back in 2008. I know you know this, but for the audience, I wore
I remember this story.
a belt buckle replica of the spinning championship. That one. That for those at home, I have my son has a spinning championship replica, one of the plastic belts, and I wore it was metal too, full metal. First of all, wearing a big ass metal belt buckle into a wrestling ring, bad fucking idea. Second of all, I got the shit chopped out of me. Everybody's like, all right, fucking line up. Everybody. I thought they meant line up, like us rookies line up. No, it was all of my trainers lined up to just fucking chop the shit out of me. That sounds mean, but like, that's some Mark shit right there. Kind of deserved it. It was ridiculous. That's the second dumbest thing I ever did while training. The first one was donating plasma right before training one day. I hit the ropes twice. On the third time I hit the ropes, I just face planted and passed out.
I don't think you've told even me that one before.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid. I woke up. So we had this giant beanbag kind of thing that people would test out top rope moves on. So if they fuck up and land on the top of their head, they don't die. And I woke up laying on that out of the ring while everybody else was training. I had passed out, and they're like, "Oh, just put him here. He'll be fine."
I'm sure he'll be okay.
He won't die.
Probably.
Oh, man. It was fun, though. Honestly, I wouldn't change any of it because I'm a silly goose. I like being a silly goose. But, yeah, I mean, I kind of answered probably your next question, like, who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Yeah, Shawn Michaels. So what's your favorite Shawn Michaels, or just in general, your favorite match, I should say?
Oh, it would have been Shawn Michaels anyways. This may be kind of a cop-out because I know it's like one of the most popular wrestling matches of all time, but Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 is goddamn one of the most perfect wrestling matches I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, it's a classic.
I visually, did I not just get goosebumps?
Yep.
Thinking about it. It's fucking beautiful. I don't even have to talk about it. Everybody's seen that. If you're listening to this, you've probably seen the fucking match.
Oh yeah, everybody has seen it.
So
it's a, like you said, it's a bit of an obvious answer, but it's not one that somebody can get after you for.
Yeah. To not be such a cop-out, though, I'll throw out a few more. If you have not watched the Cruiserweight Classic,
I already know the one you're about to say, but go on.
If you have not seen Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, their first match in the Cruiserweight Classic, I again have chills because it is fucking beautiful. Because on main roster, at the time, they were at the height of their tag team. At least their first run of their tag team.
Yeah.
They were like on screen and in real life, like best friends. And that was the beginning crack of their eventual feud, which if you haven't watched their feud on NXT, holy shit.
I would honestly say just watch their entire feud, especially if you only had the patience for one match. I would watch their very first match on NXT, on TakeOver. I can't remember which one it was specifically.
Yeah. I don't know. That first match on the Cruiserweight Classic, though, is what really like cemented me that Johnny Gargano has the skill to be the next Shawn Michaels, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that opinion. That I would say there may be a few things about him that would need some work first. I mean, I always feel that it's not a good idea for me to criticize any wrestlers. Speaking as a guy who has never wrestled a match.
Yeah. I could say I've wrestled a match, but it was a battle royal, and I don't know if I really have that. I do referee, and I did train though. And I've done like practice matches, but never in front of a crowd. Besides that battle royal. But I mean, I guess I have a little bit of say, a little bit of place to say stuff. I don't know. I'm rambling. But yeah, anything with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, honestly, you're not going to go wrong. It's that's some crazy shit. Currently, I think one of my favorite wrestlers is Rhea Ripley, though.
Oh, Rhea Ripley,
She's
she is
fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a real shame she has to take that time off right now.
Again?
Wait, hold on a sec. All right, so I had not seen the new Raw yet. Busy week and whatnot. Yeah, I did not know Rhea had returned.
What do you think?
I think Liv is going to die.
Yeah, I think she's going to be ripped into dozens of small pieces. Yes. So that was fun. I got to reveal something to you there. Yeah, I paused the recording and showed him on YouTube. And, man.
Yeah, I knew I should have watched it before I came in, but I figured with it being the first episode and whatnot, we weren't going to dive in quite yet to current events.
Well, weren't you mistaken?
I was a fool.
Fool. Oh, no, it's fine. But yeah, Rhea, holy shit, man. She's a fucking star.
Oh, absolutely.
She's over as fuck too. So yeah,
potentially unpopular opinion here. Potentially.
Okay.
I think Rhea will probably go down, like not right now, but I think by the time her career is over, she will probably go down as the greatest women's wrestler ever. Potentially
even more spicy opinion. I already think she is.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard.
I know she hasn't done that much. She's only won one championship. Right? Yeah.
I put the potentially on there because you never want to say for sure until the career is over. Yeah. I mean, there are women like I'm not a big fan of Charlotte Flair, but like you have to give it to her. The lady is more talented than her 16-time world champion, fucking legendary father. Talent-wise, she blows him out of the water. Now, character-wise and just impact-wise, fuck no. But like, I've heard her compared to, in ring-wise, a female Kurt Angle, and yes, I think that's fair. I think that's a very apt description. I concur. You know what? I'm not going to diss wrestlers because who knows who we have on here. And I don't want to necessarily diss her. She just isn't my taste. I personally just don't think she's that charismatic. I mean, yeah, fair enough there. It's just my personal opinion. Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Sometimes I like to be spicy just to be silly and like kind of be like controversy creates cash, fucking Eric Bischoff over here. And I like to say things like, I think Lance Storm has the personality of a wet paper bag. And then immediately I go, wait, I don't actually think that. That's not like, sometimes I just say things to be funny. I mean, like I said, I tried. He has more personality than that. I tried to avoid giving any true criticism, any serious criticism, because I just feel coming from me, it's not really, I don't want to say not valid, but yeah, you're not Dave Meltzer. Hey, Dave Meltzer, I have a message for you from me, Rusty, of the We Love Wrestling podcast. You ready for this, Dave? Hello. Hope you're doing well.
Okay. Well, my message for Dave Meltzer is, much like Charlotte Flair, you're not my style. I'm not a fan. It's fine. Not everybody has to be a fan of everybody.
Yeah.
I have spicier opinions, but I'm gonna dumb it down for the show. I've said it on Facebook. If you find me on Facebook, you can find my real thoughts on that. But
I wouldn't say it's dumbing it down. More just being civil.
No, I'm kidding. That was a fake clap.
Was it?
That was a work clap. Oh.
So it occurs to me that it would probably be relevant if we talked about how we met and our history and everything.
Yeah. So Rusty and I were taking criminal justice classes at our local college.
Yeah, we had the same major, so we had a lot of the same classes.
Yeah. It may have been interview and interrogation, actually.
Did we take that together? I feel like it was ethics.
Yeah. Ethics and criminal justice? Excuse me? That's a joke, kind of. All right.
It's like 99% a joke.
Yeah. 99, sure. All right. But yeah, there was no cuts. There were no cuts there. Anyways.
We took several of the same classes together.
Yeah, I was trying to think how the discussion of wrestling even came up, but honestly, I know. I mean, I don't remember specifically, but I know how it happened. Because every time I meet somebody that I'm like, oh, this person's pretty cool, my first question is always, are you a wrestling fan? Because if you are, holy shit, now we're best friends.
I think we were working on a project together, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's funny. I'm like, oh, hey, we should probably talk about our history together and how we met.
We have no fucking idea.
It took place in a college.
We met each other in college. We were in France. Not at all. Community college.
I do remember one thing, especially when we were starting to really get to know each other. It was about time for Christmas break one year, and I was thinking about like Christmas gifts I could get people, and I saw that the local movie store had The Wrestler on sale, and I thought, that would be a great gift for Josh. And I can't remember did we actually go through with it?
I don't know.
I want to say we did. I got the movie The Wrestler, and I brought it in the last day before Christmas and gave it to you, and you gave me a Christmas gift as well. Oh. And it was also the movie The Wrestler.
I forgot that. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I can't believe I forgot that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, because we'd been friends for a few months at that point, and I'd say that was when we really realized, oh yeah, we're not just friends, we're best friends.
Yeah. And I don't think you had the movie, did you?
No, I'd seen it before on, I think, streaming. I can't say with 100% certainty. It's been so long.
That's a fantastic movie, by the way. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, which if you're not, why are you listening to this podcast?
We should probably do an entire episode just talking about that movie and what it has to say about wrestling in general.
One little tidbit that we can say right now is I have heard that Ric Flair was not happy about it.
I've heard a lot of people, specifically the older generation of wrestlers, really thought it hit a little close to home. And if you haven't seen the movie, give it a watch. You'll see why it probably did. I've heard some people say it's maybe a little too negative. that maybe it shows too much of the negative sides of being a pro wrestler, but not the positives.
It's like all those World War II movies that were too realistic and gave all the veterans PTSD.
I think
but
Saving Private Ryan.
But instead of that, it's old wrestlers wanting cocaine again. Listen, if you can't laugh at yourself, I'm keeping that in.
You know, it's a harmless enough joke. It's not as if you're calling out anyone in particular. Yeah. For the record, we are not saying anyone in particular has done drugs.
Oh, come on. You know, Redacted did all kinds of drugs.
Well, Redacted, of course. Watch, a wrestler named Redacted is going to see this
fucking lawsuit
against us.
Honestly, I would welcome it at that point because that's hilarious.
That would be
We got sued by Redacted.
It'd be the most confusing lawsuit ever when it goes through all the paperwork.
I would release all the court documents, but I would black out his name and all of it. The most... Okay, see, that's some dumb shit. Okay, so here's a good one. Every wrestling fan, especially people who were wrestling fans when they were kids, came up with their own wrestling character, who they would be, right?
Yeah.
What would your name have been?
You see, I did think about that as a kid, and I had thought of my first name for my ring name would be Rob, but I could never think of a really good last name.
Van Dam.
I think that might be taken. I can't put my...
Conway?
No, that one's probably good.
Yeah. Anyway. So, did you have a finisher that you figured out?
What did I want my finisher to be? I mean, when you're a kid, you just want whatever your favorite wrestler's finisher.
Yeah, you're right.
To
so
be.
You would just do the fucking.
It probably would have been the Tombstone or the FU or. Oh, sorry, the AA.
yeah.
Or,
what are you talking about? It's PG, man. PG. Hey, do you think when they go to Netflix in 2025, if Cena returns, they're gonna start calling it the FU again? That would be sick.
I'm not sure, to be honest. That would be pretty fun.
If Battle Rap Cena comes back too, fucking incredible. That was the best part of the PG era. It wasn't really the PG era. It was Ruthless Aggression, which was kind of leaning into the same era.
Yeah, I mean, Ruthless Aggression was, I would say, probably a more well-formatted version of the Attitude Era.
We're definitely coming out of the PG era.
Yeah, definitely. One might even argue that we are past it.
Oh, we're way past it, I think. I personally coined this the indie era. Because the thing is, you have a lot of guys coming from more independent wrestling where they've honed their craft way more. This is one of my spicy opinions, and we could talk about this more in another episode, but just a little taste. I think this is the best era in professional wrestling history, especially WWE.
I think it'll go down as one of the best. But the best, I mean, like I said earlier, with when it comes to a wrestler with their whole career, I don't want to say something is the best ever, or something or someone is the best ever, until we have that hindsight to look back on. Yeah. But I do think that this will go down as one of the more memorable eras, honestly.
Like, I don't know. Storylines are so good. The whole Bloodline storyline, up until Cody won, it was incredible. Like, the long-term storytelling that the WWE did with the whole Bloodline was just fucking chef's kiss.
Now, you said until Cody won the title.
I think the whole Solo thing is just, it feels
It's
weird.
not
Now-
working it for you.
Now,
Not working.
I
For
don't
you?
like it now. However, when Roman comes back, we'll see how that goes.
I think
Because if the payoff is an incredible like Bloodline Civil War, and it goes over well, like the Bloodline Civil War match goes over well, that'll make it all worth it, in my opinion.
yeah,
I think they're bringing in too many new names. I don't give a shit about them. I know a lot of fans might have seen them in other stuff, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's here!" And I don't know these people.
having the Bloodline story without Roman, I mean, it's essentially having just telling a story without the protagonist being present.
Yeah, and that's essentially what he's been for the last 3 years, the protagonist.
Essentially, at least when it comes to the Bloodline story.
And really, the WWE period in a lot of ways, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Roman has been probably the most influential wrestler of his generation.
A lot of people say he's the GOAT, and it's hard to argue. I don't necessarily agree, but it's hard to argue.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely,
Like-
it's hard to argue.
I'm excited to see where this goes. But that's, current events. We can get into that another time. We could do an entire episode, and we probably will, on the whole Bloodline storyline.
Yeah, we could do an episode doing
Like
a look back.
5-part one we probably could do, actually. There's so much to unpack with the whole Bloodline storyline.
Oh, absolutely.
so-
It's almost its own. It's almost. I would say it's like an anime. It's got arcs.
yeah. We might have to create a whole nother podcast just for the Bloodline shit.
Welcome back to episode 3196 of a look back on the Bloodline.
We're going day by day, even the days that nothing happened.
On days when there were no wrestling.
Exactly. Like, oh man, do you remember how tense this day was?
What do you think Roman was doing in storyline at this moment?
Shopping.
It-
in character, like, okay, so it's clear that the character on the screen is not the real person. But we have to say, okay, then canonically that person exists in canon. So what do you think the canon Roman Reigns, like, what do you think he eats?
I'm imagining him at the grocery store right now, and he's holding 2 boxes of cereal, one Raisin Bran, one Honey Nut Cheerios, and he's trying so hard to decide between the two. He's in his full gear outside.
No shirt.
Yeah, no shirt.
Whatever it is called.
I think, is it Lay? I'm probably wrong.
I forget what it's called.
He's got the title around him. Paul standing next to
No,
him.
yeah, he doesn't have the title around him. Paul is carrying the title next to him. Wise man, which box should I choose? The Honey Nut Cheerios, my tribal chief. Thanks, wise man. I'm going with the other one.
An old woman walks by him.
Acknowledge me.
Excuse me, Sonny. Can you please hand me that box of Fruit Loops on the top shelf? I can't reach it.
He's doing a physical gig.
Oh.
For anybody, he's doing a physical gag. So for anybody, she's pointing up, wanting a box of cereal, but really she's acknowledging the tribal chief, which honestly is fucking funny. So which tribal chief do you acknowledge? Solo Sikoa or Roman Reigns?
Is the one I don't say gonna come and beat me up?
You know what? I have to say, that's a good question, because I'd kind of rather be beat up by Roman than the entire other bloodline.
Yeah, Roman would just punch me once and then be like, "You've learned your lesson." Solo's
not that scary, I have to be honest.
Solo would throw me through a window.
Solo's not that scary. Who is scary is fucking Jacob Fatu. That man is fucking terrifying. The Samoan werewolf? Fuck that guy. He's scary as shit. He always looks unhinged. He looks more unhinged than Umaga did.
Yeah.
Like, just his facial, it's like, I gotta murder somebody. Like, holy shit, man. He's terrifying. I can't lie. I mean, I do find it hard to give a shit because I don't know any of these characters. But at the same time, like, I have to acknowledge that I do have to acknowledge that they are scary people.
Oh, absolutely.
So, welcome back to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Shit.
Wait,
fuck, that's a different podcast. Conan O'Brien's podcast. God damn it.
Oh,
Anyways.
great. Now we're going to get sued.
All right. So I do want to mention we are going to do a segment on this show called we don't have a name for it, but it's basically going to be a non-wrestling corner.
Yeah, basically
where we break down maybe just things that are kind of happening in the world for a little bit.
Maybe just things we're into at the moment. Like if we watched a particularly good movie or TV show
happened to us.
Yeah.
Weird shit happens to me all the time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I might have just a fucking story.
Oh, same. Basically just anything non-wrestling related. Might be an event, might be just something that happened to us, might be like a game or a movie or a TV show we're into. But
I'm not going to lie to you, Rusty. This might not be the week for that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
there was definitely, I don't know, this thing that happened, and it's a little controversial, and yeah, I don't really want to talk about it on a podcast that's supposed to be kind of lighthearted and funny.
Yeah, this is supposed to be fun. What? Another cut? Man, what are you talking about? You're crazy.
Man, you're crazy, man. Are you gaslighting me right now?
But anyway, we don't think we're trying to set the tone for the show with this episode, and it probably for a show called We Love Wrestling, it probably wouldn't fit the tone to have a non-wrestling quarter in this first episode.
Right, yeah. And also, like, current events don't really lend to that. Maybe next week we can break down the Battle of the Billionaires.
Oh, that would... Damn.
No, but anywho, yeah, no, we're leaving that.
No.
That's not controversial. That's funny. People will laugh about that one. Right, people? Hello?
Wait, where are the people?
Conversation?
Wait, where are they at?
Where's the fucking crowd? Shit.
You said people were going to listen to this. I don't see any people. I just see a computer.
We're keeping all of that part of that. All right. Well, Rusty, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Nah.
You should have plugged something just that wasn't even your own project. Yeah. You can catch Malcolm in the Middle rerun episodes.
I mean, I don't know how many episodes there are, but House of the Dragon is back Sundays at 9 p.m. on HBO or Max.
Hold on.
I am not sponsored.
No. All right.
We're not sponsored.
See, this is why I decided to do this podcast, because we do bits. Like, we're constantly doing stupid ass bits.
Yeah, once we really get into the groove of this, it may not have. I feel like it's shown through, but it'll shine through a lot more as we do more episodes, like the bits that you and I really get into.
Now, I actually, weirdly enough, do have something to plug.
All right, let's hear it.
So one thing about me is I work at a place that makes movie props and cosplay props, that kind of thing. And I do want to plug that if you're a huge fucking nerd like I am, and you cosplay or you just like replicas of cool shit, you can head on over to wolfgarprops.com. And you can use the promo code NERDDAD5 off. I'll give you 5% off of any props. And that helps me out a little bit. So go on over and use that promo code. And we got over 300 Actually, I think last time I looked, we have over 500 products.
Yeah.
And we do custom commissions.
Yeah, you actually took me over to Wolfgar's workshop a few weeks back. Man, I tell you, those are some real high quality props you guys really make, in all honesty.
Yeah. I mean, it's the coolest place I've ever worked. For sure.
Yeah, it is nuts just how detailed and just how accurate these things really are.
Rusty may sound like he's doing like an ad right now, but I'm telling you right now, when he walked into the shop, he was like fucking the nerdiest nerd. I loved it. I'm not making fun of him. It was awesome. But like, he was like, holy shit.
Yeah, for real. I mean, just go to wolfgarprops.com and just browse through, just look, and just keep in mind all the stuff you see on there. I went into their workshop and I pretty much just saw it all either hanging up on the walls or just laying around. It was nuts.
In their various stages of being finished.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool. It's the coolest shop. And I get paid to go to conventions. If you're at conventions in the central Indiana, or honestly anywhere in the Midwest, you might see me. If you find the Wolfgar Props booth at the convention, come by, say hi. Might even be able to give you my discount code there at the show. I don't know if that works that way, so don't hold me on that. But I'd love to see you regardless. So, you have anything else to say, Rusty?
No.
Well, with that quality. Well, with that, I appreciate you guys listening, all three of you. No, we appreciate you listening, and we look forward to bringing more of these in the future.
We really appreciate both of you listening to this. You're the best parents ever.
I was just about to say, thanks, Mom.
Thank you to both Josh's mom and my mom for listening to this.
At least your mom likes wrestling.
Yeah.
My mom, kinda. I will say a quick, cute story about my mom. The other day, she called me and she was going through A&E, like their basically a catalog of shows. And she was like, have you ever heard of it? She was in the section where it was WWE wrestler like biographies. And she's like, have you ever heard of blank? And I would just throw out some random fucking story about that wrestler because I am like a fucking encyclopedia in my head of wrestling knowledge. And so I'd break down like, oh my God, when she was like, have you ever heard of Eddie Guerrero? I'm like,
no. Who dat?
I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to cry now. Well, I was like, and then I because while she's not like a big fan, she doesn't watch, she does like things like that. And so I'm going to have her watch the Bray Wyatt documentary.
Oh, you'll have to.
It's phenomenal.
Oh, you'll have to talk about that on here, what she thought of it and what her reaction was and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Be fun to have her on.
Oh, that would be.
She's a fucking crazy person. I love her to death. Okay, well, for Rusty and I both, we really appreciate you guys listening, and podcast out.